now call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as written?
Motion. Second.
It's been moved and second that we adopt the agenda as written. All in favor of the said motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from September 25th, 2024?
So move.
It's been moved and second that we approve the minutes of our September 25th, 2024 meeting. Motion carried. We are now down to unfinished business. Item A, compactor replacement, Mr. Eubanks.
Okay, after the last meeting, you asked me to go back and see about getting some possibly refurbished or get someone to do some. We did some checking. We can get a refurbished one, go in, they take our compactors, go in, refurbish them, basically make it pretty much new again. Basically half price, $14,000 is what they're saying they would do that for. So, and I feel like, we'd get a good container for that.
Yes, sir.
Does that come with a warranty, Mr. Eubanks?
I don't know, this is using the same company that we're using. I feel more comfortable with that.
Excuse me.
It's the same outfit that we're buying them from because of the head and all.
Right.
Making
That's
sure
the only
that
one
it
that
does
will
fit.
fit.
Exactly, that's why I feel,
I don't know who made that suggestion, but it was a very good
I think
suggestion.
Mr. Ford made that suggestion there.
Good deal. Half price.
So
Yeah.
that's where we at with that. We literally was able to cut it in half.
Do we, Madam Chairman, do we need to move on that or make a recommendation? I mean, are we coming back anytime soon?
No, sir, I don't think so. I think we can go ahead and make that recommendation
Okay.
while we're going through.
And
There's
Tim,
no
you're,
point in having a separate meeting just
yes, ma'am, yes,
for
ma'am.
the sake of meeting.
Mr. Eubanks, what is the name of the company that you were recommended?
Becker?
Spectre?
Becker.
Becker. At this time, Ms. Burns, I'd like to make the motion that we go along with the recommendation of the administrator with Becker for the refurbished containers at the convenience centers.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and second that we recommend that we go with Becker Company for refurbishing the compactors. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item B, ARP funds, Ms. Stanley.
Okay. On the previous packet that I had given you 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, I've updated that since then because I was able, by adding another week, I was able to gather more data for you. So if you look at the packet in front of you, this paper clipped together, this is like a summary page, and behind it is the request from each department. But I went through and put the total amount of money that I could gather from the request on there. So, like I said, this is including every request with an addition to the other two papers that I have in front of you. One for E911, and I think the other one is, I done combined it in mine, hold on. E911 and the shares for the ammo. So I guess the best thing to do is just, start, well, first of all, before y'all start reviewing it, I've got the paper to showing you the outstanding balance that we have. We have roughly $5.5 million left. 5.5.
5.5?
We went ahead and told Beanie to order, there was 3 more HVAC units, so that will come away from this. So that's why I said just roughly 5.5. He's ordered 3 HVAC units to be replaced. There's 2 of them that's been given trouble. So I told him, I said, because y'all had previously approved to use HVAC, so I felt safe that y'all would be okay with us go ahead and getting that. So he ordered that this week.
Madam Chairman, lady, are we gonna go through this wish list one department at a time, or?
I think it would be prudent for us to do department at a time.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
if I may, and if I'm out of order, I'm out of order. But, and I don't even know if it's made it in here or not, but we had an incident during the last storm where this building lost power last month. Couldn't even get the agenda out. Had to get on the phone and use some magic. Couple of hours, we had power to everybody.
It's in here.
Sir?
It's in here,
Okay. Do you have a cost?
ballpark. A lot of this stuff it was pulled together so quickly, a lot of this is gonna be ballpark. But I feel like we need to, like Ms. Burns
Do the
said, go
RFPs.
to,
Yeah.
because there may be some in here that y'all totally disagree with, then we can strike. And then we can bring you hopefully some more accurate numbers, but on such short notice, a lot of this stuff is ballpark
I got
numbers.
you. Mr. Smallwood, would you agree with me that putting a backup generator in this building is priority one?
I think it's important. I don't know if I'd say priority one of everything we've got to spend, but I think it's important. I mean, us not having power, I probably wouldn't make it the most important thing in this building, in the
Well,
county, but
it's not the first time it's happened,
right.
and,
There are, I agree with you. It's probably something we should consider.
Did you say it was in here, though?
We've got it in the
Yes, sir.
individual
So if-
departments, right?
We'll just go through the department.
Yeah.
We'll pick it up.
okay?
Okay.
There you go.
All right, Ms. Stanley, do you want to lead us through?
Okay, the first one is Register of Deeds. And this is the contract for her management system for every year. And so the cost for 5 years, and it is a 5-year contract. So I checked with Ms. Williams, and she said that, yeah, that we could go ahead and purchase or, obligate for the next 5 years by December, and that's how much it would be for her hardware. So we basically wouldn't be spending this over the next 5 years. That would be a savings of cost. And it's $120,960, but this is her, like I said, this is a cost that you're gonna incur every year for 5 years. So that'll save us if we go ahead and,
One question on that now, if you agree to do that, are you locked in a contract for 5 years?
well, it's a 5-year contract anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you do it for 5 years, but they let you pay it annually.
You just keep adding to every year.
And this is the software where, all her images in the Register of Deeds is. So they've been using it for several years. And then also she's got, that their the chairs will need to be replaced probably within the next 2 years. She threw that in there. So if you approve this, it would be $121,860.
That we're going to spend anyway.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's kind of exactly what we need to be looking at, isn't it?
Okay.
So we good there?
So you're basically going to be paying that out of ARPA money
staff's
versus
recommendation?
paying it out of,
Well, we're going to be paying for the contract anyway for the software.
Yes, ma'am.
The only option here would be the equipment, the chairs, office
Okay.
furniture.
Okay, so, but
We know they're going to have to have.
that's gonna have to come one way or the other. It's actually, it's gonna reflect in the, budget.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm absolutely good with it.
So that's.
So we're gonna go with it. If y'all disagree with something, we'll strike it and we'll do it that way. But if y'all good, we'll just keep going like that.
Okay. All right.
okay, the next thing is on probate court. And she had originally, and it was wonderful because she had the guys in there last week, she had originally just asked for 2 new shelving tracks. What she's been doing is she's been asking for this every year because it's filling up. This is the, back from 1951 to current storage. So if y'all allow her to go ahead and get, well, at first it was those 2, but then she come back and added 2,000 more for the marriage license storage. So she said she would not need any more storage if she went ahead and was able to get this shelving and a track for these 3. And it's $11,000. Because see, what's to an extent, she's got, prior than 1951, she's got that on digital, but you also still have to keep a hard copy.
She's got Richard Petty's marriage license over there. She's got Richard Petty's marriage license.
Oh,
Got
does
that
she?
Right here.
Really?
Yeah, might have been the old courthouse. I'll have to ask Mr. Calder, I'm not sure. But, I think that's one of our most frugal elected officials. Ms. Swalwood, I have no problem with that. You need a motion?
No,
Or we
can
just gonna
do
check 'em
those.
off?
Yeah,
Got
just
you.
Check 'em. Okay, IT?
Okay, the next one would be really a good plus because of the way the times are now. This is firewalls for the various buildings on the computers. So Cody went in and he got the firewalls, and as you can see, the detail would always, gonna be on which departments and all. But the total to cover all that is $36,962.64.
There again, that's something that's probably gonna come anyway, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely,
Because he's already had to do some stuff like on the emails.
I didn't know fire breaks you got that high.
all right?
Okay, the next one is the auditor's office. And basically, he said the only thing that he could think of that he would need is a couple new desks. He's got one in there that, he would like to do like a raised desk because she's having back issues and stuff. So he said if he could, purchase a desk that raises, that one of those riser desks is what it's called, a little bit higher than the regular one, and then chairs. So it's a good estimate. It would be like $3,000 because they poured up on, I think like Herald or Office Depot, or they was comparing. And so $3,000 should cover that.
Okay. All right,
The next one is the assessor's office. They usually get the hand-me-downs from economic development. So we were looking at, and we actually had an instance, about a month ago, Tim, where one almost got stuck. We had to call somebody. So we, would like to propose and would hope for that you would get them, and it would be state contract. It would have to be on state contract. 3 four-wheel drive vehicles for the appraisers. And
She said
Travis.
And she said she would take anything, all she's asking for is basically four-wheel drive it. And she goes places that building codes or anybody else, they don't even have to go. I mean, they're having to get any rooftop or whatever, so never, she really, at times, would need four-wheel drive, but she said, I'll take any kind of four-wheel drive that they would allow me to have.
Is the county dirt roads in that bad a shape?
It's not, see, they go to easements, they
Yeah.
go anything, just think about it. Building codes goes basically new properties that,
Got driveways.
right. The assessor's office, they have to go every little pig path, everything. If they, rooftop back there, they've got to go to it, so.
And I'm assuming plus when they post this stuff for the upcoming sales, some of it is way back in the woods.
They probably need it more so than anybody, other than, the road department or whatever. But
Yeah.
really, they really do need it.
Yeah, and it's,
They're not.
yeah, and in speaking, like whenever they post them to sell at taxes, the treasurer's office has actually used one of their vehicles to, go around.
so the treasurer's office uses one of the assessor's office vehicles?
That once a year.
Yeah, once a year, and that's like in March, whenever they're going out and they'll put the stickers on the houses. Palmetto Post does a lot of it, but they have to go, but the mobile homes, they have to do.
3 vehicles going around $135,000?
Well, they done an estimate of
Those are just,
the
like I said,
F.
these are just estimates.
You
now.
can buy
This
all-wheel
is-
drive automobile for a hell of a lot less.
And that's what she's talking about, but we didn't want to undershoot anything, so.
Okay.
And I think that Travis based that off of like a truck,
catching on.
F-150
Right.
truck. I think Travis based that off like a F-150 truck, four-wheel drive.
That'd probably be about right. 45,000 apiece. Probably cheap. If you had to buy an F-150 four-wheel drive.
You kidding?
Well, once again, like a state contract.
Yeah, I mean, all-wheel drive car probably.
So,
I think
Little
fuel
hatchback,
efficient
Yeah,
is
little Subaru.
one of the biggest things.
so are y'all okay with that, or?
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. The next one is E911. Now, the first item is their center console upgrade. The last time that this had been done is whenever I first came back in, it was about 2 years after I came, it's back done like in 2012 or so. We actually got grant money from the state and actually had to put some on capital equipment. So that's how the last time that all this had been upgraded. And Chad said it was roughly around $140,000. And then the backup generator, that one, it's been here forever. He says it's like 25 years old. So he was thinking, should we, this would be the time, do we need to replace? Because that office has to have power. And he said, the generator still runs fine, but
But it can be used somewhere else.
yes, and the life of
Now,
this.
I've personally looked at that generator many times, so I'll agree with you.
Okay. And then, of course, the next item, which is on the next page, is the AC unit. Now, this is already listed on public building maintenance, so I really wouldn't spend a lot of time on that because it's one, like I said, an HVAC. We got a question mark by the radio upgrades. Do we go to the 800 radio system? And that's part of the packet from Communication Technology that we had put in. And Tim might want to take over a little bit of this, speaking with Chad yesterday.
And with that being said, y'all have all heard of 800 being talked, that we were hoping to get 800 within the county. He's trying to prepare ahead of time for that, but then I've had some discussion also, and, I feel like, along with some more, that if we run an 800 system, anything that we're faced that could possibly happen, whether it be SLED, the state, whoever, I feel like that 911 system should be capable of talking to any outfit within North Carolina, whatever. I mean, and that's kind of, I've talked to Chad about it, and that's what this page is right here. So,
There's already a need, because state agencies are running the 800, so there's already a need to be able to communicate now, even without the sheriff's office, regardless of what they do.
Yep.
that's correct.
Communications need to have every tool in the toolbox.
Yep. Because I just had a conversation with Pageland Fire Department. David Rivers was in my office the other day, and they are doing it now.
So that's what that is. And that's kind of allowing our 911 center to be able to basically communicate with anybody that we're aware of out there that possibly need to talk to us.
That's another one of those things that looks like to me it's almost, you're gonna have to do it sooner or later.
So this, the price for the radios, just to purchase the radios, because it's like a monthly fee or something that comes with that?
See, a lot of this stuff is, we've got the radios, it's just a matter of switches and repeaters and stuff like that that allows them to communicate. So that's what a lot of this stuff is repeaters and stuff like that will have to be put in place to give them the capability of doing, to be able to talk to outside agencies and stuff that we can't right now.
But I think what Ms. Burns is referring to is when we looked at this thing a while back, there was a big charge every month for every radio, I guess it was every radio, or every receiver that went in the car. There was something about a monthly fee.
Now, that 800 system will be, but you're talking only one fee. And I don't know. I can find that out. I know what you're saying now. That would be considered one radio system itself, where each deputy, each radio they have would be also a fee.
That's what we're
So
speaking about.
is that what you're talking
The
about?
user fee.
Yeah. So I feel certain if you're on that 800 system, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'll check, but I think with us being a 911 center, I think we might be exempt from that fee because the state is providing that to us. I don't know that for sure, but I can check.
David Rivers made the comment, he was in my office last week, he made a comment that right now that it's going to tear down, there's like 3/4 of it, you have to pay 3/4 of it now, then the next by 26, they want to have it zero. It'd be half, and then it would be a fourth. So after 2026,
And he's
it'll be,
talking about the state
Yeah.
basically picking that fee up. So I feel like with us being the center, the brains of it, I feel like we're exempt because Chad and them have 800 capability of 800 walkie-talkies now that the state provided to us. But those consoles, those or dispatchers need to be able to, at any given time, talk.
I don't think we even have I don't even think we have an option of whether it comes with $100 a month fee for our radio system or whatever. As far as the dispatch office, I don't think we have an option. I think where the fees really accumulate is when you got 100 radios every month
Right.
having to pay that fee.
Right.
That's what, I think that's what we were talking about.
What's the pleasure of the committee? Yay, nay, don't know, don't care.
I was deep in thought, ma'am, I didn't hear you.
I said, what's the pleasure of the committee in terms of the recommendation?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms.
I thought we were
Curtis?
just sort of checking them off, going on down the list,
Right,
and
but
if we had an
Yeah.
issue,
We're gonna move forward
Yeah.
unless y'all tell us no.
and we
Is
can
what-
always come back and trim it back.
Right.
So as of now, you yay? Go along with it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's what I was trying
You, Ms. Smallwood?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's kind of the lifeblood of the,
Well, it's also an
Whole thing.
opportunity to get some things we need.
that's exactly right.
okay, so the next one is public building, and like I said, the very first two items is the HVAC unit, so I feel like you've already kind of pretty much already approved to spend the money on that. So that would be $153,000 on those. So the next page is a service truck. And, let's see, that's, and the mini excavator is already on the road department, so we won't even discuss that at this time. But mostly, the only thing in this department that you probably want to discuss is that service truck. And we do have some of our vehicles on the rotation for capital equipment. There's 4 trucks that we got on rotation, and there was one in this department that we had on rotation. But a lot of and you'll see once we get to it, like building codes, some of theirs isn't on rotation, but this is one of the items that,
One question, if I may, and I think that might have got settled during the budget. There was some discussion about a boom truck.
They're still trying to purchase a bucket truck.
yeah,
Bucket
bucket,
truck.
a used one.
We're gonna rent a boom truck as needed to set units and stuff, but y'all did agree, and they still hadn't found a good bucket truck. Still looking for that.
Moving right along.
So you okay with the truck?
I guess I'll have to be at this point.
Okay.
Building 2. I don't know what they're gonna
Thanks, Ms.
store in
Heidi.
it. I
And
think
as-
a 40 by 60 storage building,
Yeah,
pretty big for one pallet of Freon.
yeah, he was wanting to do a building, but
Where'd you see that.
He's got that on there with, the very last thing, with the, he's got it in there with the mini excavator.
Okay.
But I had marked,
Not on the individual one.
yeah, no, yeah, I had marked that off.
We kind of struck that ourselves.
Yeah, I kind of marked that off. I mean,
60?
yeah, I mean, because well, and his justification was for all the HVAC units, but my thing was after the HVAC units are gone. So I kind of I guess I made an executive decision and scratched it. And then he's already actually went ahead and ordered that Freon,
That pallet of Freon. there.
because it's already fixing to go up again.
It goes up all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, build it, just to build it. I mean, like I said, we can, if we feel like we
Yeah,
can
so
go back and add, just
if
as
you'll,
easy as we could.
yeah, I would scratch that off of your thing for the building.
Okay,
And the next one is what Mr. Curtis was talking about. It's actually a generator for this building and the courthouse. So if we accomplish getting a generator at both of these buildings, we'll still be able to serve the citizens. And I mean, I think this would be a huge plus.
The only other thing I can add to that was when we lost power, it was at the end of the month, and we had a lot of people or citizens trying to get in or wanting to come in. So, and you talk about a headache, that's one of your biggest headaches as administrator. When that power blinks or a snowflake falls, everybody wants to go home.
if it drops, 2 drops of rain, in a place not far from here, they want to go home.
Exactly, so I feel like it's our job to be here for the citizens.
As long as it's safe, and you need a backup generator.
And that happens more often than not.
Oh, yeah, I know it does. There was a storm, can't remember which one it was, it's probably been 7, 8 years ago, transformer blew downtown, and it took them a week to get the thing in and operational and get the Main Street feed back up. I think we were still in that building over there.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful just to be able to
But
just.
yeah, that's not just this building, that's the courthouse also. That's the 2 main buildings I feel like in this county that the citizens are coming in and we need to continue to provide a service.
So is that 2 generators?
Yes,
That would
ma'am.
be 2 generators, one for this building and one for the courthouse.
And that would be including all the disconnects, all the wiring, everything to fully installed and all. Because I think Benny said the disconnects are like $15,000.
Yeah, they pretty expensive.
Yeah, so this is, because we were looking at the cost of kind of like a generator, and they were, for a building this size, it would be about $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, in between that range.
I think you need more of a commercial type.
Yeah, but we were just basing,
what you're saying.
yeah, because they
Can Benny handle putting in the switching stations, and is he qualified to do that?
well, there's one that had went
I mean,
out at
That's a lot of
Enoch.
liability.
Yeah,
I know,
If
but
it's not put in right, you gonna energize that grid.
But I feel like our codes department could probably assist there, because I know a real good electrician within that department.
Okay? If not, you consult with Brown
Right,
from Hartsville
right.
down there.
We'll make sure it's
He puts in a
done.
bunch of them.
and the next item is something that we've been needing to do, but we've just been kind of turning a blind eye to for the last couple of years because we simply didn't have the money, and we just been holding our breath, praying that, everything was okay. This is upgrading the elevator. When he came in and done the inspection last year, or it might have been 2 years ago, he had given a quote and said, this is what all needs to be done. So we just happened to think about this, so I contacted him and got an updated quote, and this is the updated quote, is $82,250.35, and he said since the last estimate he had given me, some of the code had changed, so this is getting it up to codes as of 2025.
I mean, that's one you're gonna have to do. LLR is gonna make you do it.
Yeah. I mean, we've been flying by the seat of our pants for the last couple of years. I mean, because last year it was like
They the ones that
$76,000,
certify
2
they
years ago.
can shut it down if they want to.
And, this is a requirement for handicap. Okay. The next one is the library. They have currently 2 vehicles, and one of them is older with high mileage, and it needs to be replaced within probably the next 2 years. So we just done a same thing with the, like a state contract. Travis got me an estimate like on a Escape, and it was like $40,000.
Now, I have a question. If we get the assessor's office some, those
Yep.
two wheels, that would open up for them, would it not?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. And those are nice vehicles. And I
Yep.
think they'd fit them perfect.
So that's a maybe
So that's, so we
on the
can take that
vehicle.
out.
Now, the carpet
Right.
replacement in the building. I thought we put a new roof.
I did.
Time flies now.
I did too. I'm sorry.
the last 10
I thought we
years.
was done with roofs.
We put a roof on every building in Chesterfield County except for my house.
Maybe
And
right.
Benny said right now it is leaking in one of the offices. It's coming down.
got-
And
you
it's,
got a choice.
they've had to move their desk a little
We
bit
should have
because
been
it's right there
looking
at the
at shingles
computer.
before it ever started leaking.
But now that, I don't know if I think I made the changes made on your copy for the carpet. We actually got a quote from White's Carpet for $72.30. So that's a better estimate than that $20,000 that he originally gave me.
Mr. Eubanks, if you would, talk about this new roof on this thing. I noticed several around town. We had a hailstorm come through last May, or this past May. There's been a lot of roofs replaced with insurance funds. You might want to look at that
Okay.
before we just jump off and decide, at least have somebody take, an adjuster take a look at it.
Okay. We can do that.
And also, I thought we replaced all the roofs. I thought we'd replace this roof too, so.
I did,
Don't
but
they come with some kind of warranty? If it's been within 5 years and it's only
Well,
been
if it's
two?
a
I don't think-
30-year
our
shingle.
big projects, the court, this one, the courthouse, the detention center, yes, but now like the economic development roof and all that, that's just
We're
a
done with-
shingle roof, it's just,
Same thing with
these are shingle
building
roofs.
behind you. Back here.
So we can scratch the vehicle because we feel like we got one
Yep.
for that. The White's carpet went from 20,000 to 7,230,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
and you're gonna check on the
We'll
roof.
check on the roof.
Okay, and I would check on all these asphalt shingle roofs, Tim. I mean, it's gonna be the same carrier
Right.
through the state, so why not have them look at all of them?
So can we be safe to say that we are approving the carpet replacement
Yes, ma'am, I don't think we
of
have
that?
a choice there.
Okay, of that one, okay. I just
You,
want to
Mr.
make sure.
Smallwood? Okay. All right. Well, we getting down the road here now.
Okay, so the next one is building codes. That's 3 four-wheel drive trucks. I think that, it was an F-150 four-wheel drive that they were putting on their estimate. And then, of course, their software upgrade for next year. That's just for next year, 5,000.
Are those trucks in decent shape enough to leave for the appraisers? Or to sell?
Oh, that thing's big.
I would, and the reason we purchased those trucks were to hand down to building
Other work.
maintenance and road department. Because they're 2,500 series.
Right, okay.
I can do a lot more with them, and like I said, I know that's kind of overkill for building code, but actually, at that time we bought those, we were able to get them cheaper than we could the F-150s at that particular time through state contract. But, the fuel economy is probably not the,
That could take care of part of your service truck needs too, over there at, the other department that we want.
oh, yeah, and we do, we take those
Take the very
trucks.
best one of those and
And
put
we-
the service body on
We
it.
have taken beds off and put service bodies on those
Right,
trucks.
okay.
So,
Thank you, sir.
And also, any of this stuff that we can upgrade, that we still have decent vehicles in there, we can always sell those and put that money back in the budget.
And remember what Mr. Ford just said a little bit later in the thing. Keep that mindset.
So are we okay with that?
I hadn't heard any, no, so we
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, here's the Public Works. Now, there's one item that they called me on yesterday, and Mr. Curtis might can help out on this, the fuel pumps over there. Both of the fuel pumps are there, how old, Tim?
They are about 27, 28 years old now.
At least. And,
And we
only thing
passed
you,
them.
the pumps are fine, those are just the dispensers that's got to be replaced. And the way that thing was actually set up, and it never worked from day one, where Ronald could, who was the administrator at the time, all that information he was getting fueled over there was coming directly to his office. Ain't none of it worked the first time. And we spent a pile of money that we didn't have to spend. But those dispensers, you could probably, I can give you the names of 2 or 3 companies. See, your pump is sitting on that, you got your tanks up there, okay? All right, that, what you got there is just dispensers, okay? And it's got a 57 valve down under it. So it actually, that line doesn't even have to be monitored. And, but it shouldn't be that big of an expense. I mean, don't get me wrong, they don't give them to you, but it's not like buying a $20,000 MPD like you see up here at the convenience stores now.
And we didn't have it, so you've got one gas, right now we've got a gas tank.
double
with
diesel.
One nozzle, and then you got a diesel with 2 nozzles. I mean, you can pump diesel off of 2. One of the diesels quit working, so we only have 1 and 1 now. We'd like to get all that, back working, at least pumping.
Yeah.
2 diesels and 1 gas.
Right.
To go, but we don't have a clue right now how much that would cost. And I'm like you, I don't think it would be much.
I can get you 5 different vendors.
Okay.
That will give you a price on that pretty quickly. And, I wanna say those, they've been worked on over the years where they're generator compatible. Where that's not gonna stop them if they lose power over there.
No, we've got it
Pump
now where
fuel,
we can
yeah.
flip a switch and
Pump fuel, okay.
pump fuel. We took over the old emergency management generator when they upgraded theirs. So we grabbed it at the shop. We've been there many times with power off, so we needed that generator.
Okay. Well, that same thing could be recycled with the one at the 911 center.
His old one.
That was when Harold Haney office was in this building, I believe.
That's correct. He was on that
It was-
end.
Y'all dug the tank up, it wasn't here 3 years. Okay. And plus, we got a portable too, 15K, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Y'all good with the pumps? You
I
gonna
don't
help
quite
me there?
understand the skid steer with the cutter, I don't know what that is.
Okay, to give you some, we've got a skid steer. It's a smaller size. And, with Industrial Park in Pageland, Sherrill, these sediment ponds and all, they handle the water when it, big rain, and then it drains out. So we can't let them grow up, but those things have got to be maintained along with a lot of other stuff that we have throughout the county, landfills and all that. We need a cutter head for a skid steer.
Okay, is your skid steer on
Ours,
track?
ours that we have now is not a high flow, and if y'all know anything about cutter heads, you've got to have the high flow skid steer hydraulic system to be able to run these things. We're asking that we can upgrade to get a better high flow skid steer with a cutter head, and then we would be able to sell our old one.
Is your skid steer on tracks?
It is.
Okay. Mr. Eubanks, I think you got some bad information. Now, if you were putting a forestry mulcher head on it or something like that, you may need a high flow system. But just to run a bush hog out in front of it, I don't think so. And that thing's gonna deliver 30 gallons a minute.
Now, we
like it says.
had Cat come in, and they told us this, and it will,
Yeah, they wanna sell you a dang machine.
But you pick up what I'm getting to sell my old machine. That's why I said, let's
I
be.
think, I think that with the, upgrading the new machine, maybe the high flow isn't the most, top priority, because they don't need a forester head, like you say, I think a new skid steer on tracks that is not exceeding the horsepower range to have DEF, could be a benefit for us, where we could turn around. We would be upgrading the machine we have, and we would also be taking, and being able to liquidate the machine, the old machine, and be able to put that money back in the budget.
That's where I'm headed. And with that being said,
You learning more and more every day.
with that being said, we've got a 2017 track hoe that is in good shape. We've got a 1996 D6 Dozier that is in good
Great
shape.
shape.
Good shape.
$246,000.
Right.
when we bought it.
And what I was getting at, those two machines are still in good shape, but they're getting some years on them, and y'all know it depreciates, but you can still get good money for these machines. Now's the time if y'all want to look at upgrading.
Not on iron, no.
Not on what?
On that kind of heavy iron, no. The machines you got are low hours.
Right.
Man, I don't even, I'm sorry I had a bad night.
No, I'm just saying, if you want to be open-minded.
Like I said, you learning too dang much. I declare politics and lunatics just run together, don't it?
Yes, but now's the time to upgrade this equipment if y'all see fit. That is y'all's
I
call.
say no. I get overrode, I get overrode. The only thing that I would upgrade would be put a twister flex on that John Deere excavator you got.
That would be nice.
That would be the only thing I think you need to upgrade. I bet you there's not 2,000 hours on that 1996 Cat we got over there, D6.
How many, I can tell you how many.
What do you do?
3,481 hours.
Didn't miss it far, did it? And most of them were put on there up there at Jefferson Landfill.
Absolutely, in 1 year's time.
Yep. And matter of fact, I seen Joe Boy Hayes the other day.
And this one was in the seat of it the majority of those times.
Yes, sir, sure was. And got a tire hung in it. All that new yellow paint was black.
Yep.
All right, anyway, I've run my mouth enough. But, no, I'm not for that part of it, but, I can get overrode.
I'm not gonna override you, because
Ma'am?
I said, I'm not gonna override you. If that's your recommendation, that we, whatever you just said.
I do want us to consider one thing before we shoot it down. When we upgrade, we get to upgrade and sell the old equipment and put the money back into our budget. I can't say it any slower than that. We get to take that money and put it back into our budget for free.
I heard you.
You're gonna spend a tremendous amount of money. Plus, keep this in mind.
All right, I'm keeping, but I'm keeping, this is what I want, this is what
That's
I'm going.
fine, that's
That's the
fine.
number I'm working on right now.
I understand.
And it's gone if we don't.
I understand. But
Mr. Smallwood.
if you put that, buy a new bulldozer at that horsepower, it's gonna have regeneration fluid that adds more expense to it. And right now, you don't have it.
Now, and I feel like you could step down a size or two with that one. That's a little bit overkill for what the road department actually needs. Hey, it's a fantastic bulldozer, and it's good. A smaller six-way blade would, I actually looked at that, but at the time, they didn't want to get, they didn't want to give me what I felt like that bulldozer was worth. And I wouldn't trade them. I was wanting to trade down to like a D5, six-way blade and all. You could utilize it a whole lot more, easier to carry it, haul around and stuff. I wanted to downsize it, but they wouldn't.
About the only thing that I can think of that department over there could really use is a mini track hoe,
And that's here.
a heavy size.
But what I was getting at is Mr. Smallwood just pointed out.
I understand, with the, you got it, spend it,
Right.
or you gonna take it out of
Here's
the
an
tax money.
opportunity to upgrade your equipment, but then the sale of the
You
equipment.
got to be smart about
I
mean, I don't
think you're
know.
still missing it,
it. I
but
don't
we
know if
could.
you ever sent the city of a dozer or a track hoe or nothing else, I have no idea. Okay.
Probably
Just
not
sit
as
there,
much as
can you
you.
make it move?
I can make it move, but this isn't about the track code, this is about the balance sheet. That I'm really
Okay,
good with.
okay.
I'm very good with a balance sheet. Let's don't get that twisted up.
Moving right along.
All right. Now, the approval's a mini at,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what about the skid steer? We're going,
Come to a consensus here. You saying one thing, you saying one thing. We haven't got an agreement yet.
Well, that's $1 million. I understand what you're saying, Ms. Smallwood, about the balance sheet, and if I hurt your feelings or anyway,
No,
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just,
But,
I didn't see where we were getting anything out of that part.
that's quite all right. We can always back up and punt. As long as we got the money, move forward.
So you're saying,
We can always back up and come back
yeah,
and piecemeal this back out.
we're not, you know, it's okay to disagree.
Oh, yes,
We're
ma'am.
not disagreeable, but it's okay to disagree. We're not always gonna always
I'm
agree,
just,
but, you know.
I'm just not myself today, and I apologize.
Well, no, it's okay. You have an opinion, he has an opinion, everybody has an
Matter of fact, if you got a quorum out, I need you to step to the restroom right quick.
okay,
I think I'm
was,
in here with cat cages.
is that including, excavator too? We'd kind of come back,
Well, from what I gather, we'll just come back to that one altogether.
the whole department?
I don't have a clear understanding of where we are right now. So
Well,
let's just-
and correct me if I'm wrong, what we're just kind of, as a blanket, we're okay with it. When it comes down to it, we can agree or shoot these deals down as they
Right.
come up. Right? We're just saying we're okay to earmark this money, which we've got to do something with.
Yeah, I mean, because this has got to be
This is our
carried.
wish list.
Yeah, I mean, this decision, in my mind, the decisions that y'all make today is gonna be carried to full council in November to approve. This money has to be obligated by December 31st.
But as
So you only have one
Jason
meeting
said,
after November.
If when it comes time to pull the trigger on that, if all of a sudden the money we're looking at selling and then parting ways with one to recoup some of that expense, if that math doesn't math at that point, then we don't have to do this, right? But I mean, we're just saying it's okay, we're going to dive deeper and make sure it works out.
That's
If it
correct.
doesn't, then we can nix it at the time. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm right, because I'm not trying to be hard to get along with, I just,
Sure you are.
Well, it doesn't
maybe,
matter.
maybe.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
not sure if I've settled a bulldozer before that had to do with
You
anything.
know, it's like I say,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just make sure you understand what Michelle's saying. Basically got 45 days
Yeah.
to come to a decision on this.
Right.
So,
We need to have POs or contracts.
Yeah.
yes, you can go back and relook at
Well,
stuff.
when he gets, when he
Time is running short.
When
Yeah.
he gets down to PO time, if the numbers aren't what they need to be, then we can just say, okay, scratch that.
Right.
And it won't be that,
Let's look at it like this. Let's get through this. You can hold that $1 million off. When you see what you got left over, decide what you're gonna do with that. If you ain't got nothing to do with it, why not upgrade
We can
equipment and be
hit
able
it.
to sell what we have and put the money back in the bank?
There you go.
I mean, even if you were to approve every single thing on here, it's $2.8 million. You got 5.5, so you're gonna have 3.3 left.
We're missing the forest for the trees.
But any of those sales will go back into your fund balance.
But now to get you back on, we were at the excavator. That is something that building maintenance has asked for, and also the road department for beaver dam and stuff like that. That is a very useful tool that, you know, I feel like we could utilize a lot.
so we'll we'll move on with a question mark.
Okay.
Okay. And of course, then on next, so you're gonna do the whole department, move on to whole department with a question mark? Because there's other items other than those three pieces of equipment. You got HVAC units, vehicles, open-top containers, compactors. I mean, there's more items than just those
Which one are
three
we on,
pieces
Ms.
of
Burns?
equipment.
Still on the same one.
Public Works.
Just go past it and let's come back to it.
Okay,
No, let's just go ahead and do it while we're at it.
okay.
So, Public Works,
Okay, so I'm gonna skip over to three pieces of equipment.
yeah.
So the next item is, which I'm sure you'll be okay with, is their air conditioner. It's the old unit, so they would like to go ahead and get that replaced. Am I safe to say that you're gonna go ahead and approve that?
I would say so.
Yes, ma'am,
Unless
okay.
there's any,
Okay, and then the next three items would be the Public Works Director, the Road Supervisor, and the Recycling Coordinator vehicles. They're 7 years old and starting to wear, now, one of them we have in the rotation with, the capital equipment, but just think that's where if we go ahead and purchase it now, because that, there's 4 trucks that's in the rotation at capital equipment, and that comes up 25, 26 years. So if we go ahead and purchase new vehicles now, then that's possibly money that, one, well, you may could decrease your capital equipment, or two, you may could use it on something else when the time comes to look at that next budget year. And I think they're basing this off of 2 of them was based off of F-250s, and one of them was like a Tahoe or Explorer for the director position.
okay?
So are y'all okay with purchasing 3 vehicles? And then, of course, like, once again, everything that I'm saying will be on state contract. If they can't find anything, just say, for instance, Tahoe's, but I don't think the contract runs out till like 2026 or something. If it had run out, then we'd have to bid it out. So it either would be on state contract or bid. Okay, approve those?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Sorry, I'm making myself a note. The next, I'll do these two together. The open-top containers, which would be 25 of them. They're at $2,000 apiece. And then the compactors, there's 7 of them at $15,000 apiece. I think this, would be a good investment to go ahead and, but see, so this kind of goes hand in hand with what you already approved on some of the,
Right.
compactors.
Compactors, actually.
So,
No, he said 14.
yeah, so we're gonna go, so you kind of already decided what to do on that with the refurbished.
Right.
So I guess you had pretty much approved for a refurbished one.
Yes, ma'am.
But what about the, are you okay with getting all new open-top containers?
Talking about the, Ms. Eubanks, the 2-post lift. We got there yet?
We hadn't got there yet.
No, I'm just working down the detail list of that.
Yep.
But these open-top containers, we had gotten these back in 2012, 10, 11, somewhere in there when I first came.
Those at the sale, you remember? I can't remember what we paid for those up there.
They weren't cheap, I remember that. So I won't say we bought a dozen of them at the time.
Yeah, and that was part on capital equipment. We had got like 18, I think we got 18 open-top containers, and then we got 7 of the compactors.
Yes, ma'am.
That was
That's when
right
we
after,
started doing our own
yeah,
hauling off.
that's whenever I first came here.
And saved a bunch of money by doing our own hauling. With buying our own roll-off trucks and stuff. Okay. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay. The live view GPS is in the vehicles.
Ma'am?
The live view GPS is in the vehicles. This equipment hasn't been replaced since 2009. So Lynn, she got a quote on it, and we currently have 33, but they would like to go ahead and add 17 more to get it in all of the vehicles and the equipment. So in order to purchase new equipment, it would be $8,163. And like I said, the last time that they've been updated is 2009.
Mr. Eubank, this same system, what we had in the graders and stuff before, you talking about putting that on the vehicles too?
And they're on a lot of them now. There's
Well, I think it
still
needs to be.
Right, there's still a lot that we could use them on.
And just to tell you, and Lynn had been she's working with LiveView, and they may be able to decrease the cost a little bit for two reasons. You know, they're renegotiating it with them, and if we accomplish this by adding more, it may decrease the cost, the monthly cost, which we already have budgeted. So you okay with that?
Yes, ma'am.
And a new receptionist desk, this tearing up, and they wanted to replace it, and she got an estimate. And it's not just a desk, it's one of those high-riser ones where it's got like a, kind of like a little wall in front of it because of counting the convenience center monies and stuff.
Gotcha.
Behind that, where the public's walking in, they can't see it, although she has to get up and stuff. So it's not just like a L-shaped wood desk. It's one of those kind of like a petition on it. And their security camera system's like 15-plus years old, and they wanted to get a new one. You okay with that? Okay. Now, this is some good costs where they're looking at, how we can kind of stockpile some items that's in their day-to-day operations. Concrete culverts, plastic culverts, and road signs. We probably could safely be able to stockpile about 3 years' worth of the concrete and plastic culverts, but the road signs, he's in that building by himself, so I asked Lena, I said, when we were talking about this, I said, what can you safely say that we could kind of stockpile to save for the next couple of years? And so probably about 3 years on the culverts, she's got enough of space, but she said, I probably could get a good 5 years' worth of the road signs. And if you remember, the road signs is one of the line items that we increased for this budget because the cost is going up. So in our mind, we're thinking if we go ahead and buy some stuff like this, we're helping ourselves out down the line 3 to 5 years because these are some of the costs that's going to continuously increase.
I agree. Plastic pipes based on petroleum based, and concrete goes up every day.
Yes, sir. So I think this would be a good purchase right here. Okay. And then we're still in Public Works, they're flooring the lobby area, conference area, 2 offices. I don't know exactly, they didn't say exactly, Tim, you can jump in here, exactly how old it is, but some of it's popping up right there, especially right there at the door. And this is just a rough estimate.
Right, and I think we can do it cheaper than that, but it is needed. I mean,
Actually,
And I think-
yourself to start with, didn't you?
right, and that's something that our crowd can.
Yeah, I should say Beanie and them could do it.
Oh, we're gonna have in it some materials, but
That's correct.
I got you.
No labor costs, pretty
Add to
much.
the pile while you're in there.
And then a 2-post lift. The current one at the shop is very old, and it's really a safety hazard.
Plus the fact that they won't pick up anything.
Right, it's been there it was there when I came, and if y'all see a vehicle up there on it, you's like, woo.
I mean,
That is needed, and what's set this off is we actually had one of the drive-on lifts, the cable broke about 2 weeks ago, and thank goodness no one was under it. It was while they was raising it, so.
Yes, sir.
Those are something for safety issues we have to have.
Those F-250s out there, that other lift you got won't even pick them up. It won't design for that.
So now this is
I'm assuming this is 17,000 pound lift?
15,
15? Okay, I wouldn't go no less than 15.
right.
15,000.
Okay.
The next item, I had spoke to the road department, because the first thing I thought about was these brake pads. It has been a heartburn to me the last year or so on the sheriff's vehicles. And I spoke to Tim about it. I said, could we not purchase some parts for the road department? You know, I mean, I'm talking about like even, now, you don't want to stockpile too much because, you know, the fleet will be changing in about
Different brands
yes,
or whatever.
exactly. But, you know for the next year, you're gonna have that 2022 Tahoes. So why not purchase some stockpile of some, I mean, either one, all the way down to like oil filters, tires, brake pads, you know. So they sent me just an estimate. If you look on the back page of it, they sent like an estimate of like greater blades, greater mirrors. They said that they're not, that, you know, they had to replace several of them, step belts, dump truck and roll-off tires, then like the Tahoe tires. So they were just looking at, you know, if we could just stockpile, you know, just some equipment like that or some repair items that way.
Mr. Eubanks, is the maintenance wear parts come out of the sheriff's department budget or road department
Yeah,
budget?
you have two. You have,
Got two different ones, but like the brake pads and all that, that would be out of the sheriff's department budget.
Okay,
And
that's
then
good.
our vehicles would come out of,
and if you,
'Cause
and
they have burned them off in 5,000 miles.
oh, yeah.
so if you keep an account, what's one of the line items that goes over budget every
problem.
year?
You got sorry-ass brake pads, or you going too fast?
I can promise you, the brake pads are top of the line.
Yeah,
I didn't say that.
I can
'Cause-
say the brake pads are as,
that's those high-performance
Yep.
ones. So that's just one of the first things I thought about was all that money, because I'm sitting there thinking every single year, our vehicle line items go over budget.
Yes, ma'am. It's probably a smart thing to do.
That is all of the road department. That's it, that's part of that, yeah. Okay, so the next one is animal services. I'm the one that added this because simply, I had a conversation with a citizen that called me this past week. His neighbor has a bunch of cats, and I know this is a sore subject and all, but he has his neighbor has several cats, and the animal control officer told me that we only have 3 traps in the whole county. And when I was on the phone with him, I didn't know that for sure. So I called, you know, and the animal control does have 3, but then they can use what animal shelter has. And they do have like 20 plus, but they got age on them. Some of them doesn't close that well and all. So I just thought it would be a good idea to get ourselves, some new traps for dogs and cats.
I'll say this, and I don't have a problem with it, but I'll say this, and Mr. Eubanks, you know it's the truth. Had been 2 or 3 years ago, we bought 2 F-250 truckloads of traps. Any kind of trap they could think of. Do we need to get GPS to go on the traps too?
well, I think they'd steal both.
Yeah.
Those
But
are, that's something is an ongoing thing, and they disappear quite often.
And they get torn up.
Yeah, then they get torn up, so that's something we're constantly having to buy is traps.
Okay, well, that's a small amount of money. Insignificant.
And I would recommend housing it at the animal shelter, and if they need them, they go get them
Gotta get 'em
case by
there.
case.
And make them leave a deposit.
Okay, the next one is the coroner's office. The first item they're requesting is, and I mean, it's pretty justifiable, battery-operated stretchers. The first thing I thought about, well, you know, that probably would help, because what if somebody had, hurt their back, then we got workman's comp on us. And I think a lot of the EMSs have went to this, so I think that would be a good purchase. But they're estimated at $15,000 each.
We can put it in there, Ms. Burns, but I think lifeguard and AMR would be more than willing to help us out, because they can't keep those but so many years in service in the ambulance. The folks that coroner's office is gonna be using them for don't need certified stretchers.
So I can check with Keith and see if they have any. So we'll just put a question mark that. They currently have two 2014 Chevrolet vans. So they would like to get a new vehicle and replace one of them. It gives us a 2-year-old, it would give them a 2-year-old vehicle and a brand-new one if they would sell the old one.
Mr. Banks, the only question I'd like, and I think Mr. Cosler does a good job. I think Mr. James does a good job. But these vehicles that we provide them, are they using them for, just like transport vehicles now? You and I well know how I feel about transport. Are they using these vehicles for every day, or is that transport vehicle only getting used for transport?
I think that's
Or
just
are
for
you,
transport.
are they using them as their personal vehicles to get back and forth to work?
I think the transport vans are just for transport.
But now like
Okay, how about your
John's truck.
specialty vehicle that we just bought?
Now, Mr. James, I mean, he's got a pickup with a
Shell-
Correct.
shell
camper
on
shell.
it that I think can go either way. And that's used every day. But the van, the
Why would it be
transport
used
van.
every day?
Because that's his that's his county
But it
issued vehicle.
shouldn't be that way. Should it? You know when you're gonna have a transport, because you're going to take it to Dewberry or to Charleston.
Yeah, but I think he uses this vehicle, like if 12 o'clock at night,
Yeah, to go on calls and all that.
That's like 24
It's-
hours.
yeah.
Vehicle.
No, maybe I'm misspeaking, and maybe I'll just hush, but the reason they wanted to cover and to nice all this good stuff was because of bodies that hadn't been found for days. What's the need in driving that vehicle every day?
It's the difference between driving a truck with a camper shell versus driving a truck without a camper shell. I think it's almost irrelevant.
And that's your opinion, but I think,
I mean, it's a pickup truck with a camper shell. I mean, what's the difference between a pickup truck with a camper shell or a different vehicle to go back and forth to answer calls?
if you don't mind, just ask the question, Mr. Eubanks.
I know that's the vehicle he uses to take calls and to transport bodies.
Okay.
It's a dual, he uses dual role. Plus, they've got a transport van that they also use to do autopsies back and forth and all that. I think that's what he's asking for, and another van to do transport.
Moving right along.
So do we want to put a question mark by that one?
I don't see that vehicle as any different than the one Kevin drives, or anybody else that drives, that have a vehicle that's on call 24 hours a day.
Kevin,
I
She's
thought
just
about
using
that.
somebody.
like Kevin Thurman, he don't have a
No,
vehicle.
no, I don't see any difference in, James's vehicle with the camper on it
I got
is
this.
different than.
I was under the impression it was a specialty vehicle that was to be used for transport. And it could be operated. I'm just gonna let him ask a question, I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I might need a long, slow ride myself one day, you don't never know.
Okay.
So you want to put a question mark by it at this time?
No, all I want Tim to do is just ask a question, we're gonna move right along.
What's,
I'll find out.
okay?
Check.
Okay, the laptops, they have 2 iPads that were purchased several years ago, and they had 1 desktop, but they're wanting to upgrade them. So they would like to purchase 2 new laptops and a desktop to utilize it. And it's roughly $3,700.
You can sell those surplus anyway, can't you?
Yeah, well, they'll usually do is they'll strip everything they can get off of it, so to keep the cost of the new equipment down, because they usually get Mark Wise to do that. So he'll strip everything he can get out of it and pretty much just surplus it,
That's just one time.
because it's pretty much obsolete.
It'll be in the budget every year after that, if we do that.
Yeah, but didn't,
The next one, I think that y'all got that on the, that's one of the end things, so we probably won't spend that much time on it. The Corners facility.
I was hoping that we could,
And then I know the next one, you wouldn't do anything with that because it's ongoing salaries, it's a full-time position.
Unless it goes what you were just asking.
So, but then I added at the bottom of his request, body bags, because body bags, I look back for the last 3 years, we spent about $4,000 on body bags. That's one of the items, big line items, big items that come out of his line item. So I was like, I think it would be beneficial to go ahead and purchase 3 to 5 years. So I was estimating around $20,000 for 5 years to go ahead and purchase body bags, because I looked back at the line item.
Okay, but the facility and the, position, full-time position, we just not even addressing that here, right? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I figured you definitely,
The position's reoccurring.
Yeah,
That's kind
so
of-
I
we
figured-
kind of all, I think, agreed, not to do anything with a reoccurring
Because-
fee, which that would be. Now, the building, we are gonna need to
yeah,
know.
that would be,
some guidance on which way y'all wanna go there. He's brought us several proposals, and,
I mean, that'll have to be done in executive session, won't it?
the building for the corner.
It won't, I thought you were in negotiations on.
No, that's another.
That's
that-
another one.
That's another
That's
bill.
another building. Yeah, that is the executive session. But the corner, what y'all decide to do, whether you decide to build from scratch, we've offered the block building down in our, I can't even think of the name of what we call it.
Annex,
Yes,
not our annex.
but
What was the selling price for the, Alpha Center? What was that cost? I couldn't,
Quarter of a million.
280.
275,
$275,000.
75?
275.
And then you got all the retrofit stuff on it.
And no room.
General Steel.
So that's what made me look at our block building that we've got in place already.
That's one
Then,
near
but then,
Highway,
Antique Place.
Yep.
right beside of L&M Antique. But then he wanted an additional building for office. He was gonna turn that block building into the morgue and then build new offices and all. And every number that we've heard seemed to be pretty high. So I don't know. But we're gonna need to know something which way y'all would like to proceed with that pretty quickly too. 'Cause
On that, those buildings there, the one, little one that's separate, could that be used for their offices? And the other building, the longer building out back, part of it be used for the morgue and then some storage? It may not be that, I've been in there one time.
It's a huge facility,
Which one we talking about?
down there on number 9 next to L&M.
and see
2
that.
acres of land,
How many square
What?
feet is it?
What's that, Mr. Curtis?
The square feet,
about 2 acres of land, what were you asking?
I was just asking, how many square feet is that building?
The,
Little one's 15,
I've got it, so.
1590.
I can't remember the exact, but I think what he was wanting to do was utilize that and build a morgue on the back of it.
Right.
So, we're talking about the one near L&M Antiques, right? Yes. Utilize that as the
And see,
office
you
space
could-
and build
yeah.
a morgue behind it?
You could use
That building, the block building's 1,500 square feet.
1590, I'm sorry.
And then what he was doing was, that would be, he was gonna turn that building, the block building into the morgue, and then build a 2,800 square foot building for offices and conference rooms and everything else.
So that's this right.
That's that drawing, that's correct. That would be the block building,
And
and
not
this
to
would
be
be new.
trying to be facetious, or anything, beat a dead horse, but you've already got your morgue with the 1,500, he said that was adequate. How come you couldn't utilize part of that other humongous warehouse we got there for his office?
How many buildings you got on that?
We've got now, the warehouse in the back has the top section, it's in 2 sections. The top section, we have turned into storage for files, believe it or not. We've got detention center files, we got all kind of files that have to be kept from here on in those buildings, that upper
Very
section.
safe down there, I can tell you that.
No, but then what we've got, if you go in that building, we built another enclosure that's behind locked doors, each cabinet's behind locked door. Now, I'm not saying you get to it, but I mean, you have to do the work,
You
but
kick a metal door down.
it's not just going in one door and there they are. It's, I mean, we've got each department that's got to have it.
Bad thing, man, I'm sorry.
And then the lower section is building maintenance has storage for like, that's where a lot of that units and stuff like that we would be storing too. So,
Well, I think that's a good place for it to be, if you can work it out where it's some kind of cost efficient somewhere down there.
They did.
But I don't think that's anything that this group can settle up. I mean, we sitting here beating this, as you say, a dead horse. You know, you need to have, somebody needs to come up with some concrete plan and come up with a semblance of a price, or have 2 or 3 different options, but until you have something a little more concrete, I mean, all you can do is say, yeah, we approve it and walk on, but
if y'all okay,
what you approve it.
what I would recommend is say, look, here's the thing. We'll offer you the block building and the front half of that property down there. Or we've got land across from the jail up here that y'all have looked at. You can start from scratch there and y'all put a dollar figure on it saying, this is what you've got to spend. Y'all you offer them block building and this, or brand new land and this, but here's the amount of money we're gonna be willing to spend on this. That's the only way I know to do it and put it back in there.
Well, from the construction aspect, if he's talking about 2,800 square feet of a new building added to what the existing building is, the difference between that and a 4,000 square foot building, the 2,800 that he's wanting to build down there has all the expensive stuff in it also. So if you build one building that's 4,000, you know, you won't have to try to combine everything in the price difference. I mean, it would be crazy for us to save 1,500 feet of basically morgue storage space, which is the cheapest part of the building. It would be crazy for us to try to save that, to be able to utilize 2 different buildings and AC units and all that other stuff. You know, need to figure out where it needs to be. This is what's suitable for everybody. This is what it's gonna cost, and roll on.
Now, this second drawing right here, is that a new building?
That was a new building. Let me find,
That's 3,853 square feet.
see, that's just a new building. If I, no, that's not the same thing we're looking at. I've got several different ones.
This is the last thing you gave us.
That one there.
This one,
Enough to
that
make
was
your
the
head
second
hurt.
one, and then this was the third one.
Okay.
$1,456,000. That was 5,800 square feet, 5,824
But
square.
is there, and see, the thing, I don't even think there's a more drawn in this, is there?
I don't know.
And see, that's the thing, it's always been, he's wanted his morgue separate than his building.
It was
What's
like
the
a
point?
breeze.
Why should they?
Why
The
couldn't
morgue's
we
not
just,
not different, any different than the hospital.
I just,
It's next to the kitchen.
I think for odors and stuff like that, when you get some bad situations.
Mr. Eubank, I like the idea we talked about in executive session last time around.
why can't we just look at this one? It's 3,800 square feet, it's a new building, and I'm assuming it can be a, metal building on the land that we already have. Everything's inclusive. So I'd like to go ahead and do something like that. I would suggest, I would recommend.
I didn't bring that plan. Did you bring yours, or did you give it to us
Cooler and
tonight?
all in here.
Yeah,
So,
everything's
everything
included in
is
that.
in
Copy
Brought
of that.
hers.
That was the
you-
last
you
one
brought
that he gave
I
us.
think she brought hers.
But now, I think that was the problem with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time.
That was the problem with this deal. We didn't, I think you've got to set that. Give him an opening, do whatever, but that, y'all got to set a,
That was what he had given.
Can you just get 3 bids on that building that you're suggesting and to make a choice from there?
I'm sorry.
Just get 3 buildings and what you're, I mean,
Bids
3
on-
bids on the building and
Yeah.
see what it costs, and then we can make a better,
Right.
a more informed decision from there.
and I think that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
But I feel like you've got to give him a number. Look, you get 3 bids, but
Not to exceed.
not to exceed this. It's what, I think that's the only way we're gonna be, because we're gonna keep going on down.
And we're not gonna hold them.
These numbers are, I think you've got to give him a number that y'all agree on and say, look, build whatever you can for this.
I think, you know, we need to probably agree, this is where it needs to go, we're gonna do a metal building. And just give them a ballpark figure, not to exceed, and just go from there.
Right.
Instead of looking here and here and here, and just waiting.
I know this isn't comparing apples to apples, but I had told Tim, I had a spreadsheet that I had generated years ago whenever we'd done all these other buildings. Just to give you a rough idea, the sheriff's admin, you know, it's that metal building. We spent $665,760 to do that building. And then like the admin building, this one, to renovate it, it was 3.5. Now, the animal shelter, brand new, it was $1 million. The DSS building, which was a brand-new one, it was 2.6. And then I won't even do the courthouse renovations. So I just happen to think that might be, you know, just to give you just an idea of different numbers to kind of look at the different size buildings and what you
You
done.
got a
So I thought like,
$500,000 animal shelter for $1 million. The walls won't even straighten.
now, the sheriff admin, you know, we got, I think Henley Construction put the building up, but then our guys done all the inside. So I kind of think in a way that would be a good one to base it off of, but it was, and that's including a generator and, you know, all that.
What's the square footage of that one? What was the square footage?
I don't have the exact square footage of it, Mia.
That would be good to know.
Yeah,
That was a long time ago, though.
Yes, ma'am.
Concert.
Yes, ma'am.
But I was just saying, Ethan, or
Yeah.
for us finishing that.
I was just trying to think of, you know, just,
Sheriff's office.
Yes.
The
The admin, the main office. Yes.
Concrete and everything.
So it was $665,000, and that's with us doing the work inside. I figured that one would be about the best one to kind of base it.
probably a really good size, too.
But the only problem was you married it to a 70-year-old building, and then we had to go back and buy land for parking.
Yep, and that's
Am I correct,
including,
Mr. Eubanks? We had to go back and buy land for parking.
I say either get, 3 bids on turnkey, or, get a bid on metal building and concrete, the whole of the way, the plans show, and get Benny to put numbers on our people doing the interior work. But I'm gonna say this, not concrete driveway and asphalt and all that, but the building itself, you can build the whole for 100, and you can finish it for 250 all day. I might be naive to say that, but I know I can do that. I'm not bidding on it, but I know it can be done.
You ain't gonna bid on it.
No,
But does that include like all the special stuff that you'd have to,
it's just,
it would?
but unless
I was sure hoping we were gonna get into this other. I didn't know we were gonna spend all this morning on this.
Okay, let's just take a 10-minute break.
I can do that.
You ready to start back now? Is Cody back, you reckon, or did he leave?
Yeah, he puts
Okay.
us on when,
Okay.
yep.
So the next one is the admin building. I know there's been discussion about putting security here. So we were looking at, about purchasing a metal detector, which would be roughly around $4,000 to go at the front door. And then also the flooring, the tile, we're basically out of our extra pieces of tile, and that tile's popping up out there in the hallway some, and then, yeah, there might be a place out here, but one that I'm thinking right now in mind is at the front door. There's, and then,
Composite tile, that is.
yeah, and then
And
it,
it's really inexpensive to replace.
yeah, so we were looking, and of course, I don't have a price yet on
Well, I
that.
can do that too.
Yes, sir. So we could get an estimate from him, but if y'all wanted to go ahead and approve me to get, pricing and, you,
I don't have a problem.
if y'all want to go ahead and approve, not to, for it not to exceed over.
From this crowd to get pricing on anything you
Mm-hmm.
need.
Yes, ma'am.
Ain't nobody gonna give you a problem.
Now, what about the metal detector? You want to just,
I got a question on that, do we have any idea what the cost is on the ones, I know the school system just switched to one that was more of a weapons or solids detector, which seems to be a little more effective, I don't know if it is or isn't.
yeah, I spoke with Jennifer at the sheriff's office, and she said that they were roughly around $4,000.
No matter which way you went?
Yeah, well, she was basing that off of the last ones they had bought for the school district. Yeah,
Now, do we have to have somebody man that thing, though?
yeah, that's the thing, that's
That
why.
will be coming at budget, we
Yeah.
will probably be hitting, because we had another incident this past week, believe it or not, so that's coming, this is kind of
You talking about for that admin door up there or?
right
this
here,
building?
this building.
Well, I'll have to find another way to get in.
I would look at the ones they just bought, if that's not, not metal detectors they just bought, but the actual weapons detectors they just bought. And, because they're a little more effective and they're a little more portable, so if you get one, like, for example, on meeting day, it's not as hard to roll as those big metal detectors would be. They're small, and it's two pieces, you grab it, and one person can grab it and take it over there and sit it down. And we can move it to this door, it just might be worthy of looking into that price and make sure it's the same. But I'm
Okay.
good with either one to do,
So are you okay with us go ahead and getting that encumbered? Okay.
I am.
Okay, the sheriff's office, that was one of the items that they added yesterday that you have copies of. There's 3 quotes sitting there that you have for ammo, and it ranges from $19,000 to $25,000. So that's the first item that they were looking at wanting to go ahead and purchase some surplus, because they do, they really need it for a lot of their training.
Well, and I want to say this too. I actually spoke to the sheriff personally about the ammo situation, because I've never forgotten that when I was in law enforcement, it was very, very difficult to be able to get a box of bullets to shoot. And I think that's very important that we look at something like that we can try to allow officers to be able to do more shooting and training. So that was something I spoke to him about, and I think that's probably where this addition came from.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm good with it, absolutely. My question is this: based on the quotes here from 19,000 to 20, would you say 25,000?
There's 25,000.
Would it be possible, and I'll just say this, to at least, looking at where they are, I'm familiar with these outfits here. But for something this big, I know a lot of times your smaller dealers and suppliers can't compete with these companies, but on something this large, would it not be kind of us as a county to at least inquire locally and get a price? Because if it's 5% more, I'd rather keep the money in the county when you're spending $20,000. That's just my opinion. But I don't care who, I would see if there's a local establishment. We have 5 or 6 around the county, I think.
Okay.
Be willing to order that ammo.
And I'll agree with you, Mr. Smallwood. There's some municipalities in this county that offer a 5% local vendor preference. They automatically give them to keep the money in town. To keep the
I'd pay
money in town.
5% more to keep it in the county personally. I hope we don't have to do that, but I think it's,
I think
everything we
y'all
keep
should-
here benefits us.
Those are the ones that's paying the taxes.
That's right.
Okay.
You can't get ammo through, state purchasing.
Well, that's, I know that Craig does state contract, and I'm sure those other two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does. And I was shocked that he was the highest, wasn't he?
Craig, I think, was the highest, yep. But I can, and Dana, they do a lot at Dana. We get all our vests and stuff through Dana on state contract, but, yeah, I'll double check and make sure that all that is.
One sheet she give us.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, that first page, like, looking at the name on it, I wouldn't turn around in the difference for what they, the name brand they posted on the first page, quote to the second quote. I don't get hung up on that name. It's practice ammo.
Yep. And that's what, even all these items that you're approving, my first question is gonna be to them, make sure that they are getting state contract pricing. Because if we get audited, that's one of the things that they will be looking at.
Hey, what's next?
The-
I don't see an end, that's what.
They're looking at, their roll-off truck they have now, rollback, I'm sorry. The rollback truck they have now is a 2004, 2005. They said it's always in the shop with issues. It's used by the sheriff's office and the county shop to save the county money from not having, from a wrecker having to go out and pick up the vehicles. They actually use our rollback to go and pick the vehicles if they break down on the road. And they actually bought that one used. They didn't buy it brand new, because they bought it.
That was a Sam Parker era.
Yeah, they bought it, as I said, it's been bought since I've been here.
Yep.
The pump got paint job rollback.
Yeah, the
Yep.
green one, yeah.
So in that 2.8, we have nothing on that one line item that's included in that number.
Yeah,
'Cause that could be a pretty healthy number.
yeah. So actually, like on this one, I could actually get you pricing, and, because I feel for sure that y'all gonna have another meeting before the December, because at the December's regular council meeting, that needs to be the final one where they approve the final, expenditures, because I've got to have it expended by December 31st. So the items that you don't approve here today, all that needs to be brought back to the December regular council meeting to be approved. So therefore, you'll need to have a meeting before that meeting. Finance will. And of course, like the windows at Building 2, I don't have any, price on that, but they said those need to be replaced, because you're losing heat and air around there, around it. So we can get quotes on that. So pretty much a lot of this I can bring back to you at the next finance.
There's some stuff, I guess, that was questionable with what the numbers look like, but there's a few things on here to me that we should absolutely be okay with for GPS trackers for vehicles. I don't know, if we don't have a drone, we probably need one for the sheriff's department. Metal detector and wand, you can't have too many of those. I don't know, again, servers and laptops, redundant servers, I'm not IT enough to know if that's necessary.
Now, the metal detector wand, she did send me that, $189.
$189.
Yeah,
They just handheld.
it's the little wand.
Oh, I thought it meant metal detector and wand.
No, well, she need,
You got
both,
a metal detector, you need a wand.
yeah.
Yep.
So you're looking at the metal detector, rough around 4,000, this is like 189, she sent me that.
I mean, if we're losing conditioned air, Windows is a no-brainer.
And so you basically base the GPSs off of what the road department got, so roughly less than $10,000.
Now, is that an ongoing expense for monitoring? Do we have to-
Yes.
Is that an ongoing expense to monitor that GPS system?
Yes.
Do we already have that system in
We
place? that
do.
We'll monitor?
Well, on the sheriff's departments, we don't, but the road department, we do. They use Live View, so there's already in, their line item for that monthly monitoring. Now, the sheriff's office, they used to have it, but they done away with it, so that would be a new cost that you're gonna incur.
$1,000 a month for every vehicle we had at the time. On the road deputies, road cars, whatever you wanna call them. And I wanna say that amounted to $12,000. I don't even remember who the sheriff was at the time, but he decided he needed to hire a public information officer instead, so it's done away with the GPS.
Well, in today's world, we need to know where everybody's at.
Without a doubt.
Safety issues. We end up like the issue in McBee.
I'd almost rather put the GPS on the officer's belt, honestly. He gets out that car and runs 100 yards, he's in a fight in the woods, and you don't know it. I've seen it happen.
Yeah. On the,
I'm saying
Yeah, they can do, on the county phones, they can do, location on county phones also.
That's how I keep up with my girlfriend.
That's right.
I meant my friends, find my friends is what it's called. I misspoke again, I'm sorry.
Any other questions about sheriff before we move on?
so y'all approved the drone. And the metal detector, I think that y'all approved that. Okay, but what, I mean, the, computers and laptops and their server and in-car printers. And so did y'all make a decision on the GPSs? Because that would, now if you get those, you're gonna, at budget time, we're gonna have to visit adding that monthly charge.
Well, and it sounds like we're adding a new system if we do this, right? We're not piggybacking on anything we already have.
That's right.
So
Just like the road department,
So we
you
can bid that
are.
part of it out and shop it around and see, because there's nothing binding us to any particular.
No.
So, okay, yeah, so. I do think that GPS is something we have to have.
Okay. Now, their computers, you know, Cody's done an excellent job getting most of our county departments, but the sheriff's office, Mark handles that. So he's trying to piggyback off of what, you know, Cody's been doing and getting these computers updated to Windows 11. And then their server, I think they got a new server back in 2013 or so. It's pretty old. So that's two of the items that, you know, they were wanting to go ahead and purchase as new computers and laptops. Now, some of them they're able to get off of grants, some of those deputies, some of the SROs, and that, I think the first year on domestic and gang, they've got computers for them. But this is the other ones that they were wanting to get. She's got, the desktops are 10+ years old, and the laptops are 7+ years old.
I'm not very high-tech, but I do know computers are usually outdated in about 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly.
And their work, then, you know, Cody, he always gets an excellent deal. And I can tell Mark to make sure to work with Cody, and Cody will get us the best bang for the buck. Because just to tell you, on the server, Fred, that's the only item that Fred had on the treasurer. But see, Cody has already got that, so Cody went ahead, you know, he knew that was coming, which he got that within his current budget. No additional cost. Now, the in-car printers, they said it's needed for e-tickets. I think that's something new that's come out, that they can do e-tickets or something. So,
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know anything about it.
I don't,
Anybody in here know anything about it? Mr. Ruffner, you know about them, the e-tickets?
Yeah, instead of handwritten, 56 blue tickets, they put it in the, scan the, driver's license, and it puts the information on the computer screen, and they figure out what charge is and hit print. It prints a, printed ticket out instead of the officer sitting there with his head down, writing, being vulnerable.
so this kind of go piggyback on with the new computers and laptops. If we're gonna do that, then,
Yeah.
Anything that keeps officers' head up, that makes sense to me.
I mean, keep up with those. I think that is all on the sheriff's department now. Victims advocate is asking for a vehicle and a computer and a printer, but piggybacking on with the library, if the assessor's office is getting new vehicles, could not one of those be passed down to the victim advocate?
Could be. She don't need a police car. She does a good job, but she don't need a police car.
Okay. Because, I mean, I do know that she is driving an older vehicle, but if we've got one, you know, that's fixing to be passed down from the assessor's office, we could use it. Now, same thing, you know, I would think that we just approved the computer and printer for the sheriff's office, we would do the same with that one, so we'd approve that. Okay, detention center. Got a new car for the director. I think they're basing that off of like an Explorer.
Ms. Burns, if I may. And I don't know nothing about 90% of the rest of it, but Mr. Eubanks, you help me out here. If I'm reading this correctly, 2 quality sewage pumps. There's 2 over there, but there hadn't been one running for years, and it runs 24/7.
That's the grinder.
The grinder, that's what he's talking about, ain't it?
The grinder is out of commission altogether. It's literally a basket that is monitored every day now.
Down it.
But wouldn't that be the town's equipment? Why should it be ours?
That's a two-edged sword, because that is technically their stuff, but the stuff that's being flushed down the toilets that we're not controlling, that's tearing those pumps up, we've had a good working relationship with the town over that very thing, because that's a two-edged sword. They can point the finger right back at us at any given time, and they've worked with us. I feel like they've been very reasonable with that situation. And literally what was happening, the grinder, it was grinding the stuff up, the plates and bags and cups and everything that's getting flushed.
Towels, everything else?
It was flushed, I mean, it was grinding it up, but it still was going into the system,
And in the baskets.
and then it was bypassing in the baskets. It's actually working better putting baskets and not grinding it, catching the big bulk of the stuff.
So
before
maintenance
it's
has to
ground
go
up.
there how often and.
Every day,
Every
twice a
day and
day.
dump those buckets.
That's correct.
I certainly wouldn't want that job.
I wouldn't either, but that's our maintenance department that is doing that.
Okay, so going back to the vehicle,
What's he currently driving?
is he driving a truck, Tim?
I don't know what he drives.
Because Bridget's got the Traverse, I think.
Now, the only difference with their director and our director in the county is their director is actually a Class 1 officer. So, I mean, he can be utilized other places at any given time.
He could be
Where
used.
our director, we just kept in just a Ford Explorer or whatever. I will give them that. I mean, I'm sure he's utilized in other places at other times because he is a Class 1 officer also.
So does that mean that new vehicle needs to be a police-type vehicle?
I would think they would be asking for that for him.
Yeah.
It needs to be in a vehicle that can take some abuse. With a heavy-duty suspension, that kind of thing.
So are we, what does that leave us with, the Tahoes, Explorers?
Yeah, and I think they're basing it off of a Tahoe, 45.
Which is what, about 50, isn't that what we pay for?
I think the other was like 44.7, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I think they moved
they
away
got like
from
45.
cars because they were so low during the last hurricane. They flooded out and they weren't no good to them at all.
Maybe it wouldn't tear them up so bad when we hit deer.
Sir?
Maybe it wouldn't tear them up so bad when we hit deer.
Well, I don't know. That's, be honest with you, that is one of the biggest problems.
So we're good with this,
Yes, ma'am, I am.
okay?
The next 3 items I'll kind of bulk together, the camera system for the jail, the control room system, and the Sally Port doors and motor, pretty much upgrades to the detention center. It's 150, it's be like about 370, because it's 200, 150, and 115,000. that camera system has been bandaged, you know. It's the same one, it's been in there forever. And the control room system, they said it hadn't been updated in 16 years.
Anything that's gonna help us maintain our. Okay.
And we'll just move along. If we need to back up, we will back up.
So we're just skipping that, okay.
What's the next one? Building maintenance, lawn care?
Now, we got one more item on the detention center. They wanted a metal detector at the front lobby. That's $4,000.
And I feel sure they got a reason for it, but I don't know what it would be. Is that for the visitors coming in?
I think it's, the lobby, public interest is what they've got.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, and the building maintenance, we need 2 new lawnmowers. One would be more commercial, and Ishmael, the one for him, would be a little bit smaller one, but we get an estimate around $15,000.
My personal opinion, you give Mr. Ishmael whatever he needs, because he's the hardest working man around this whole place.
That's right.
I don't care if he wants mag wheels on.
Okay. Now, economic development, I don't have any cost on theirs. New computers within the next 3 to 5 years. I can speak to Cody on that, but I would say it wouldn't be no more than $2,500 to $3,000 for the new computers. And then they've got pressure washing and landscaping and professional floor cleaning.
That shouldn't be that big of expense, should it, Mr. Eubanks? I mean, you got several services around. I mean, Stanley Steamer's one of them. I have not even been in the building since I bought it.
That's kind of like maintenance, isn't it?
And then, of course, their air conditioner unit, which we're already getting. And then the conference room and then the chairs in the conference room, they were wanting to say that within the next couple of years that they would need to be replaced. But I don't have a cost on it. Now, you can, if you want to go ahead and approve it, or either I can get you an estimate, and then you can think about it on your, at the December meeting. I mean, I wouldn't think that it would be a couple of thousand.
I just get the estimate, and we can see it then.
Just get an estimate for you. Okay.
Then wouldn't you think that'd be the thing to do? Just approve it and get the estimate so we can.
There you go.
Okay.
And, like I said, I hadn't been in there. I'll try to go by and look at what kind of pressure washing and stuff they've got.
But would that be included, pressure washing, and floor cleaning, kind of like maintenance stuff? Is that-
Well, I would think that could be more, day-to-day maintenance, that they could cover that within, now. So with all that being said, now the next step would be for you to do is all the items that you have approved, then you would need to do a motion and a second on all that. And then we could start getting POs and start working towards getting them purchased.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we approve moving forward with all the items that were discussed today.
Subject to bids.
Yeah, subject to bids. All in favor, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion's carried. Okay? That covers the ARP fund. Okay, there is a need to go into executive session, and I know it's getting late, but we need to go ahead and get this handled if at all possible. Mr. Ruffin, if you tell us why we need executive session.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair, glad to.
Thank you.
That would be pursuant to Section 30-4-70, subsection A2. That is to discuss incidents negotiations incident to proposed contractual arrangements, proposed sale or purchase of property, legal advice that would be subject to attorney-client privilege. That is regarding property I, and then also pursuant to subsections A1 and A13 to discuss employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, et cetera, of employees, including the county administrator. And as noted on the agenda, the committee may take action by voting upon either or both of these matters after exiting executive session.
Okay, is there a motion to enter? Second? Second, I second. Okay, we'll take about a 5-minute break. We're now, excuse me, we are now out of executive session. No motions were made, no votes were taken while in executive session. We are now ready for a motion on item A.
It's my understanding, Madam Chair, that after discussion in executive session, that the Finance Committee wishes to make a recommendation to full council that an offer to purchase property I be made in the amount of $135,000.
Can I make that in form of a motion, Madam Chairman?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we move forward with item A. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and motion's carried. On to item B.
Yes, ma'am. It's my understanding, based on discussion of the committee in executive session, that the recommended salary for the administrator position be set at $130,000. And again, that would be a recommendation to be taken before full council for final consideration.
I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the, excuse me, administrator's salary, the incoming administrator's salary be set to $130,000. All in favor, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, and motion's carried. Is there a motion to adjourn?
You better believe it.
It's been moved and second that we adjourn. All are in favor.
Yes, ma'am.